Hey everybody, it's Kelly in Black Thread Studio. Well, wait a minute. I'm not doing Black Thread Studio yet. I'm doing from Shirley's Cottage. So let's pretend I'm in Shirley's Cottage. It's been 2 weeks that I've missed it because the first weekend I was in, well, for 2 weekends in a row, I was in Boise with my kids. So that was a great Mother's Day for me. And I'm back home, and I might talk a little bit more about my trip when I do the Black Thread Studio video that I'll do after this. But I wanted to get from Shirley's Cottage up to give you guys something this weekend. And then maybe later on tonight or tomorrow, we'll have the regular Black Thread Studio. I think it's going to be episode 23. So I do wish everyone a happy Mother's Day, no matter where you are or who you're with. I hope it's a beautiful day for you. I cannot even tell you how it rejuvenated my soul to be with my kids. Bittersweet because, of course, I didn't want to leave them. Couldn't wait to get home to Jim. And now, the beginning of June, Sam is going to be moving back to Boise. He was there for a couple years. And I think he came here because he missed his mom, and now he's going back there because he misses the rest of the family. And his relationship with Paige and her husband Chris and Hadley and Reed is so important that I know he's really, really missing that, and I think it will be really, really good for him. So kind of bittersweet. I got to see my kids. I'll see Sam tomorrow, and then after that, all my kids will be in one place and I'll be in another. So that's the way it goes. I didn't mean to sound flippant about that. It's just that that's the way it goes. So anyway, 2 things, I guess, for Mother's Day. I have my coffee in this big, it's my lipstick, in my big pear mug. And I usually use this for soup, but Paige made this for me April of 2007. So in honor of Mother's Day, I'm using my pear mug with my coffee today. And then when I was at Paige's house, I don't know if you guys saw just the little snippet where I said that I was in Idaho. Her house is so beautiful. There was a picture, and I did put it in that little snippet video. There was a picture that I kept looking at. I kept commenting on it. Like, I have to have that. Where did you get that? Where did you get that? Can you send me a link? Where'd you get that? So, and that was just the first 24 hours that I was there. I kept saying, did you send me that link yet? Where did you get that? Send me the link. She told me she got it on Amazon. And then finally, the second day that I still was talking about it, she said, will you just stop? I've already ordered it for you and sent it to you for Mother's Day. So it actually came while I was still in Idaho, but I wanted to show you guys. This is such a cool, precious picture, and it was not expensive. And just how sweet of Paige to send that to me, and it would be here for me when I got home. It's a nice wood oval mirror. This is just, it does have some texture to it, but I sent the link to Rox. I think she might be ordering it for herself as well, but this is completely my style. If I had to pick something, this is exactly. Now, I will tell you, you know what Jim said. Where are you going to hang that? In your room. Because, you know, remember, he doesn't like stuff. And I'm working on that Peace and Plenty that I showed you last week. And I think I'm going to try to hang it somewhere with that. So if you like this, you can find it on Amazon. And I'm going to show this to you. I think if you just put in Little E Studio, oval floral, I think it will come up. I think it was like $26. So anyway, thank you, Paige. I love, love, love this. So, so now to get on to from Shirley's Cottage, I'm still, if you guys saw the 2 tubs full of newspapers I have for my mom's articles, and they aren't just, you know, her article, it's the whole paper. I kept the whole paper. I was so homesick, and they used to mail the paper out. I'm sorry, you guys. Oh, I have words of wisdom for Jim. Should I do the words of wisdom? So this morning I was sitting there and I was doing that because I keep feeling like there's an eyelash in my eye and it's scratching. So I was sitting there and he was talking to me and I was going like that. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "There's something in my eye." And he said, "It looks like a finger to me." So Jim's words of wisdom, I think I'll have to carry it over to Black Thread Studio because that's where I usually do it. Jim's words of wisdom are, sometimes if you think there's something in your eye, it might be your finger. Anyway, I'm sorry, I think Jim is funny. Okay, that was really funny. Okay, so anyway, I was trying so hard to find a Mother's Day article for my mom, and I don't read these, so I don't know if this is actually Mother's Day, but it's from Thursday, May 7th, 2015, and it's called The Magnolias Are in Bloom. And not only Jim and I put a magnolia, and I'll put a snippet of it in either the beginning or the end of this. There's a longer story I have about a magnolia tree, but Jim and I put in two summers ago, and this is the first year that it's really bloomed, and there's a lot of blooms on it. It's just a little bush. But when we were growing up, my dad was very, very, very quiet, didn't talk much, didn't show a whole lot of emotion. So I have to say, even at a younger age, it was really interesting to me to try to figure him out because I knew he loved us. I knew it was all in there. I never questioned that. And then my mom was the opposite, just totally hugging and kissing and, you know, just all over the place. So for Mother's Day, for Christmas, my dad would always say, you know, you kids go out and buy your mother her favorite perfume, which was Chanel, No. 5. And he would give us the money and we'd make sure she got her perfume from him. And then on Mother's Day, in our backyard, we had this big, beautiful magnolia tree. And he would always say, you kids go out and pick your mother some magnolias off of that tree for Mother's Day. So this one's called The Magnolias Are in Bloom in honor of my mom and dad for Mother's Day and of our tree in the backyard that's blooming. So here we go. The Magnolias Are in Bloom. From my desk, I have a view of the road. I want to thank my good neighbors across the street for giving me a beautiful view of their magnolia trees. This is one in each of 3 yards, all in full bloom, and I can see all of them without even turning my head. What a treat. Seeing nature's beauty bloom can make my day. The blooms take a while to open up. The flowers don't last that long, but it is worth the wait. I was not going to visit memories today, but I have to for just a minute or two. It was almost 20 years ago. My daughter, Kelly, had a dream about her dad, a rocking chair, and a baby. The daughter, Paige, was a teenager. They wanted another baby in the worst way, but too often for families it wasn't to be. So they began the adoption merry-go-round. During this time, her dad got sick and died. Adoption was put on the back burner. Then, I'm sorry, I always say the same thing. I really like reading this with you guys, but some of them, wow, Mom. Adoption was put on the back burner. Then one night she had the dream. She couldn't shake it. Kelly was rocking a baby and her dad was standing behind the rocker smiling. When she got up in the morning, their magnolia tree that had already bloomed and stood dormant had one lone flower on it. Ted was partial to magnolias. That's my dad. My mom would take writer's liberty, and that's not exactly how the dream and the story was, but it gives you the gist of it. Some months later, maybe I'll tell the story another time, or when I get done, who knows. Some months later, Sam was born. You can believe in signs or not, I do. Partial to magnolias, you bet. I'm partial to all trees, flowering or not. Maybe it's because I'm from Rockford, Illinois, formerly called the Forest City. We had trees all over the place until the Dutch elm disease hit. In the 50s and 60s, the disease took over 50,000 trees, 2 of them that stood in our front yard. Not only that, our big weeping willow in the backyard bit the dust. I didn't know what killed the willow, but there were no branches touching the ground and shading our yard, only a sad stump reminding us of what was. I have never thought of myself as an activist, but maybe I am for trees. Trees are not just a little twig to be planted, and a year or two later there's a tree. No, it takes many years. If a tree in my yard is cut down, I will not see another like it in my lifetime. Mom, I feel the same way about trees. When we started coming to the lake 51 years ago, there were trees that were alive and well. Many of them are still here. On Park Road near the beach, there are trees gnarled and missing branches. They make an arch over the road. In town, North Street has several blocks of white flowering trees, along with a few flowering plums. She's talking about the lake now, not Rockford. On the lake road, a willow stands tall, branches touching the ground. It looks like another willow growing right out of the top of it. The utility company cut right down the middle of the trunk at Corey and Bob's, that's my cousin's cottage, on the other side of the lake. It is still alive and well and giving shade. In 1913, Joyce Kilmer wrote, "Trees." It begins, "I think I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree." I agree. This is not an ad for the Arbor Day Foundation, just a few comments from someone who loves trees. Loretta, the library lady, visited us today. She is passionate about the library as I am about trees. She keeps us posted on the progress of the new library. She has been making mason jar salads. I'm going to try them. My mom's segues are always the best to me. She can go from there to there in just like that. Should I read that again? Loretta, the library lady, visited us today. She is passionate about the library as I am about trees. She keeps us posted on the progress of the new library. She has been making mason jar salads. I'm going to try them. They sound delicious. I would have a salad every day, but I'm too darn lazy to make them. I think she said damn. The idea of mason jar salads is you can make them for a week at a time. They stay fresh and ready. The secret is to layer the ingredients. Now this sounds really good. Plus, how cute to see all that stacked in the mason jar. I would make it just to look at it. Okay, so, you know, whatever dressing you want. Hearty vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, peppers, onions, beans, zucchini, sprouts. And then for some bulk, you can do pasta, rice, couscous, quinoa. And then for protein, you can do seafood, meat, eggs, cheese. And then, of course, you'll have your lettuce, nuts, and seeds, if you like. And then, you know what my mom says, enjoy a salad every day. So you would just layer all that in the mason jar and then have your dressing ready to go. So that was a good one, Mom. Okay, do you want me to tell you the real story about the magnolia tree? I did have a dream about my dad, but this is when I was still with Doug and Sam wasn't born, yes, and Sam and Paige are 12 years apart, and we did try that whole time, so it was very, very, very hard and frustrating time if anyone's ever been through anything like that. But anyway, my dad did get sick. We had built our house in Oglesby, Illinois, and the yard wasn't in yet. I'm trying to think how this went. The yard wasn't in yet, and we couldn't afford to do sod, so we were going to seed. But the guy was supposed to come, and I can't remember why he didn't come to do the seed. But I had bought a magnolia tree in honor of my mom and dad to put in our front yard. Doug and I had moved around a lot, and we built this house. That was actually where we were the longest. I think it was 6 years. And I wanted a magnolia tree. So I got one for, I think I went Mother's Day and got it. And had it just sitting in the ground in the front yard. The guy had come and leveled it. The whole front yard was dirt, so I put the tree where I wanted it to be. And he came to do the yard, and I can't remember why he couldn't. So I took the magnolia tree, it was still in the pot, and put it in the alongside the driveway sidewalk, thinking that he would come back. And I think it sat for a couple weeks, and by that time it had, you know, been past its season, and so it looked dead. I think I shouldn't have left it on the sidewalk, because even though I was watering it, now I know. I mean, how old was I? You know, young, and in my late 20s. I think the concrete had been sucking all the water and drying it out, and the tree was dead. So I thought, well, I'm going to plant it anyway and see if it comes back next year. So the next year, my dad had passed away, and I put the tree in, the magnolia tree in the front yard, and it didn't bloom. It didn't come back. And so I'm trying to think. My dad got sick the end of May, and then April, May, June. So he got sick the end of May and passed away by mid-July. So it was really, really quick. But anyway, the tree didn't bloom, and I thought, I'm just going to still leave it. I'm not taking it out. I'm just going to leave it, and maybe the next year. I just had hope that maybe the next spring it would come back. So my dad had passed away, and there was, my neighbors came to bring me casseroles or something. They had made dinner, and I was at the front door hugging them, and I just was like, oh my gosh. And I looked, and there was not one leaf, not one thing on that tree, but one magnolia bloomed right on the top of the tree. And for me, that was a sign from my dad that he was there, and, you know, kind of just saying hello and I'm with you. And then within a few days, like that next week, the tree actually did get 4 flowers on it. And at the time, I was thinking, well, it was 4 magnolias for us 4 kids that my mom and dad had. And then that year, I got pregnant with Sam, and I always have felt like my dad was like Sam's guardian angel. And now I think that maybe those 4 magnolias meant that there would be 4 of us, meaning another child, like me and Doug and Paige, and then Sam. So it could have been the 4 siblings, or the other child I was going to have to make 4 of us. But I did have a dream about my dad, and there was a magnolia tree, and it did bloom. And I think the next year it did not. I know it didn't bloom, and I reluctantly, we dug it up. We backed up to some woods. I didn't just throw it, but we planted it in the woods, thinking that maybe at least the trunk or something would be there and just be there. So anyway, that was my story, and the magnolias are in bloom. I hope they're in bloom wherever you are. And again, you guys have a really, really great weekend, a happy Mother's Day. And I am going to shut down, and I'm going to still be talking to you, because I'm going to do Black Thread Studio, and well, just come back and we'll talk about it. Okay? All right. Bye-bye.